Today I want to try something a little bit different. I want to take you through the complete process of a full valet. Now here in the UK we have car valeting and car detailing. Both are now two different things, whereas across the pond in the USA, they just consider detailing as one main topic. But in the UK, the main moneymaker that people consider is detailing, because you do paintwork correction and you do ceramic coatings. However, with car valeting, the main focus is the deeper cleans and the groggy jobs. So we're talking about steam cleaning, wet extractions, and we're talking about hand polishing as well. Sounds confusing, yes, but by the time this video is finished, it's going to be a lot clearer. If you are somebody who's thinking about becoming a car valeter or perhaps a car detailer, this could be the most important video you will ever watch. Because I feel the problem with most new startup businesses is they take on way too much from the get-go. And in return, this overwhelms the newbie car cleaner, which ultimately means they end up losing confidence in themselves and also lacking the motivation to continue. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the crazy amounts of businesses selling up who started during the pandemic. And this was mainly hobbyists who clearly had a passion, but as the business side of things took over, it killed their love for the job. Last week I was carrying out a little bit of research, and it turns out for most car valeting websites, a full valet doesn't even include an engine bay clean. And it's funny because most of them just say, well, we're going to get your car to a showroom standard. And to be honest, most showroom standards these days are diabolical anyway. But then again, it looks like detailing companies, as in the paint correctors and the ceramic coating people, they're the ones who are now undertaking more engine bay cleans. And for them, there's a higher markup. If I was a mobile car cleaner and I went up to, let's just say, Mrs. Jones's door and said, I'm going to clean your engine bay for £150. She would say no. Whereas if I was in a fancy studio like this and I had supercars coming in, they would 100% say yes. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I wouldn't touch the engine bay. Personally, I believe that you should give it a little tidy up. We're not talking about the major deep clean, but I think an enhancement and improvement is what you really want to be going for here. So my main focus is to clean all around the gutters and the seals, but I am still going to give it a quick clean up anyway because it's my nan's car, and although it's a Fiat Punto where I probably shouldn't be touching the electrics, I'm going to risk it anyway. So with the wheels, they're going to get a deep clean. Now that will involve using fallout remover as well as a heavy duty wheel cleaner. We're also going to tackle the arches, the door shuts and the petrol cap as per normal. As always, we're going to carry out the pre-wash before the contact wash, and basically that pre-wash is going to allow us to get all these bits of pollen that have got in all the crevices, because this time of the year, as we've just exiting spring, making our way into the summer, the pollen drops absolutely everywhere and it dries so quickly in here. We've had a lot of rain as well, and it's literally got into every single nook and cranny. So this is going to need a deeper clean. And that means we're going to have to get out some of the brushes as well. And here's where it gets interesting, because out of all the websites that I was watching, not many of them were offering a clay bar as standard. But if you do offer a clay bar, as in decontaminating the paintwork, you're then going to have to polish it up afterwards to remove some of the marring marks. So what would be a better solution, I personally believe this, is by performing a chemical decontamination instead. And that way we can be thorough but without marring the paintwork, meaning we don't need to break out the machine polishers afterwards. Last year I made a beginner's guide to a full chemical decontamination, and I will put a whole list of relevant videos to this one in the description below. But before we get too carried away talking about all the polishing side of things, we're going to leave that till later on. We're now going to jump inside the car and see what's required. The interior on this Fiat Punto wasn't really what I would personally call as bad. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's an easy 2. So it gave me way more time to film this demonstration as the car was only in for one day. Whereas if we roll back just a few weeks to when I took on this Toyota Land Cruiser, this is what I would definitely call a 10. So my definition of the full valet on the inside of the car is quite simple really. We're going to scrub all the plastics, we're then going to dress them up afterwards, we're also going to clean the glass, but we are going to shampoo the seats. If they don't have fabric seats and they have leather seats, then we're going to clean and condition the leather instead. Now with the carpets, I'm always going to give them a wet vac. If it's a full valet, then they're having everything shampooed, Maybe not some of these areas on the side where the door trims are, and especially not on the headlining. I think the headline should be defined as an upsell. And the reason being is because nobody enjoys cleaning the headlining. If you have one car that is absolutely horrendous, it's going to take you a lot longer. And it's not the easiest jobs to do because you're literally on your back trying to reach. You get a bad neck, you get chemicals dropping all over your face, and it puts you in a foul mood. So trust me, please do not do the headlining as part of the full valet. Save it for an upsell, make them pay the money for what you're worth. So pricing up a full valet can be one of the hardest challenges because you have to work out how long it would take to clean based on various conditions. Personally, I feel you have to ask yourself how much you want to earn per hour or per job, and then you've got to work out how much it would cost you in fuel and chemicals and other expenses. But just because you may come across the odd relatively clean car, you still can't underprice the quote because you never know what nasty surprises may lurk around the corner. For me, I have a starting price, so they know where we stand to begin with. And then I go through with the customer what they expect to get out of the clean. But do you know what? Let's just get it outside and give it a clean. It's very important to get everything set up, so make sure you have all the products to hand and have your buckets filled up ready to go. So I normally start off with the engine bay or the wheels. It depends on the actual clean that I'm doing. Not everybody wants their engine touched, but on this occasion, like I said before, I'm just going to give it a quick clean up. I'm going to spray some APC, give it a light pressure wash around the edges, give it a brush and a wipe, and we're going to be good to go. Just to confirm, this isn't a typical engine bay clean. It's just a tidy up around the engine bay and a little wipe down on top. And trust me, it will make a big difference to the customer, even if you don't think so. And there is a very good reason for this. By offering a basic clean, it gives you the opportunity to offer a deeper clean as part of an upsell. And this relates back to the point where you discuss the clean with the client before you start, so they understand that it won't be a full transformation. And by doing this, you're going to protect yourself against any type of engine bay which could potentially take you the whole day. So another thing you can do is turn the pressure washer off completely, and then you've just got a nice, easy, manageable amount of water coming out. So for areas like this, if you don't want to just wipe it down with a towel, you can simply rinse it, and at least you can be a little bit more careful. I don't mind a bit of splashing, but either way works fine. The next stage will be the wheels, which involves cleaning the tyres and arches, not just the alloys. And you have to go around all four of them, then move the car slightly back. So it's amazing, just by rolling the car back about a foot, you can see the other areas where the brushes couldn't quite reach. And it really is important that you do this every single time, because if you clean just the wheels and then go to park the car, by the time you're finished, you're then going to have to give it a wipe over at the end, and that could incur scratches and one unhappy customer. Unfortunately, it can feel like a chore going around all of them again, but it's something you just need to get on with. And once I got the underside of the wheels completed, the next thing I would offer the customer is a fallout remover. Now, some wheel cleaners already have fallout remover in them, so you can kill two birds with one stone. However, this is not a cost-effective method. By using this chemical on the wheels after the first clean, you will be left with a deeper clean, and that's what makes the difference. For example, if you had wheels that were slightly muddy, if you sprayed a fallout remover on top of them, they're not really going to be able to get through to the iron particles which are embedded in the alloys. That's why we always recommend using an alloy wheel cleaner first. Once you're 100% finished on the wheels, the next job is to tackle the petrol cap and the door shuts. And for this you can either use a citrus pre-wash or an all-purpose cleaner. And I'm using some Autoglim APC because they sent me some last month, so I thought I'd use it up. But my personal preference is citrus pre-wash. So it's just a case of simply spraying, dwelling, but not drying out, and then rinsing off. And in some cases you will need to agitate it with a soft brush. So we can tick off the engine bay, wheels and door shuts. So now we can focus on the pre-wash for the bodywork, which again involves bringing out a citrus pre-wash. So I'm just spraying the lower third of the car, and because the temperature was pretty cool on this occasion, I was able to get around the whole vehicle without it drying. And then I applied a layer of snow foam on top just to give it some extra bite. Once it had fully dwelled, I could then rinse it off, ready for the contact wash. For this stage, I'm simply starting from the top and going around the upper sections first, and then heading back to the start so I can go around the bottom section of the car. After rinsing off the suds, you could take it one step further by spraying iron fallout remover around the vehicle. And normally you just let it dwell for a few minutes before rinsing it off. Now this may not remove everything, but it will make a significant difference. But this is entirely down to how you decide on the day. As I've said before, the customer may not require you to even carry that part out. But if you do offer a mechanical decontamination with a clay bar, then it gives you more scope for another potential upsell. Anyway, the car is now fully washed, ready to go inside to dry. Nice. And for most of my career, I never had a unit to work in. And unless it's raining heavily or it's a scorching hot day, it won't affect you too much. But for these videos, the unit helps me film without all the distractions. So I always start off by drying the bodywork first, then drying the door shuts after. So we now got the car completely dry. It's fair to say it's looking okay. It's not perfect, but we've still got a lot of work to go yet. And the next thing that we have to do is remove the road tar from the bodywork. Now, this is going to divide a few more opinions because some people say you should do it during the wash process, others say you should do it afterwards. So for the road tar removal, we're going to be using Liquify by Infinity Wax. This is one of my go-to products that I always use. And basically what we're going to do is spray just 2 panels at a time. I don't want to be covering the whole car. I know ideally in controlled conditions like this, I could probably get away with it, but I don't want you guys to start doing it because if you get too far ahead of yourself and it dries out, you're just going to make more work for yourself. The first method is simple. Just spray 1 panel at a time, dwell and gently wipe away, and just repeat if necessary. You can also spray it onto cotton pads and leave them on the panels just for a few minutes just to play it extra safe. Afterwards, I'm just giving the car a quick panel wipe just to give me a super clean surface to work on. Okay, so I'm happy with the bodywork now. We've removed all the road tar. We've even covered it with a panel wipe as well, so we now got a blank canvas to work on. Now, most detailers would say you are completely crazy if you do not machine polish it. However, if they're not in the same situation that, let's just say, that I'm in right now, then it's very hard for them to understand what I'm about to do. So for car valeters, your general run-of-the-mill mobile car valeters who will come out to your location, you are going to have a very limited time frame to get this car done. Let's be honest, because nobody can machine polish a car realistically in a few hours. There's some people who might be able to do it in a day, at very best if there's maybe more than one of them, for example. So let's just get inside the head of the customer who's picked the phone up and asked for a full valet. For them, they just want their car to look as good as possible. Maybe A, because they want to sell it, or B, they just want to maintain it for maybe the next 12 months. So you do have a few options here. Realistically, a lot of you are probably going to go for an all-in-one. For example, I've got Autoglym Super Resin Polish here. This is loaded with fillers, but it also has abrasive, so it's going to be able to tidy up any marring marks if you did use a clay bar and you did scratch any of the surface. It will be able to get out maybe minor marks, but don't hope for miracles here. It's not going to be able to take care of everything. So just a quick heads up, if you do go down the route of using an all-in-one, say for example like your Autoglym Super Resin Polish, what you will find is it's only going to last maybe 12 weeks at best with its filling capabilities. So what most people would normally do is use a ceramic spray on top, or they'll go for a decent wax. And that's going to extend the durability. Now, if we didn't want to go down the route of using this polish, mainly because it might be too hot and it starts to powder, then we have another option here, which is a glaze instead. Now this has got high filling capabilities, but it's got no abrasive compounds in, so you're not going to be able to remove any of those marks, but you will be able to hide them, maybe for a short period. So the thing I like about glazes is the no fuss, no powder, instant results. If you're a car valeting business and you're just trying to enhance somebody's car and you want to maximize your income, well, this is a good product to use. And like I said before, you want them to call you back in a few weeks because you want to get the business again. If I show my nan once this car is finished, she's going to be blown away by how good it looks. And she'll just say to me, can you do it again in a few weeks' time or a few months' time? And that's fine. Well, actually, it's not fine because I'm not even getting paid for it. But you know what I mean anyway. So now I'll take a clean towel, fold it over, and we're just going to, well, barely buff it. I mean, it's barely touching, and it's just removing it already. God, that looks really good. She will be pleased. So I don't know if you can see on camera, I'll pull it up closer in a minute, Basically, there is zero powder. I mean, there's just no effort involved, is there? Nothing. Some compounds and polishes, you can really struggle to get it off on darker colours especially, but with this, it's no dramas at all. This is the point I want to get across to you. If you are a car valeter, car cleaner, and you're even trying to make upsells from offering a light polish, I mean, look how quick it takes, like no time at all. That is fantastic. I missed a bit. And that's why I like Infinity Wax. They just simplify the whole process. And if you want to get yourself 10% discount, don't forget to use code EPIC at the checkout if you do use some of their products. And I know some pretentious detailers out there probably go, oh, look, it will wash off straight away. Well, we're going to wax it on top. It's going to give it a little bit more durability. But as I keep saying to people, that's not the point. The point is we want to make as much money as possible for doing as little work as possible. And I know it sounds terrible, but it's the truth. We want to make our lives as easy as we can. And if we can get the client these types of results, I cannot see any problem in it at all. 10 out of 10. Next up, it was time to clean the glass on the exterior, and then I was ready to move on to waxing the bodywork. For this, I'm using Diablo PTFE wax, as it's just a nice product to work with, and it does make a change from using ceramic sealants all the time. And I will list some of my favourite waxes along with other easy to use products in the description below. This is the bit that could make or break you, the interior. Oh my word. So many people have their own definitions of the full valet for the interior. So what would I call a full interior valet? Well, it's very similar to a standard valet in terms of covering all the areas. However, it's more intensive, so the aim is to remove as much dirt as physically possible. And it includes carpet extraction. But in my opinion, it excludes steam cleaning as it makes a tasty upsell. It also includes scrubbing all the plastic trim and dressing it just to freshen it up, but taking extra care not to miss any key areas. But as I already have an in-depth video on the entire interior detailing process, I will put a link at the end of the video because it covers more in-depth things that you may not see anywhere else. All the mats should be cleaned and extracted if they are fabric. If they have rubber mats, please do not risk putting any shiny dressings or silicone on them, as it could make you liable if they became in an accident. Once I was happy with the interior, it was time to give the glass a quick clean-up. And with full valets, always make sure you wind down the windows and clean up the top edges for a better finish. With all these big cleans, I'll always advise putting some sort of treatment on the plastic trim. For example, this Fiat has black plastic on the handles and the wing mirrors, not to mention a few other parts, so it gave me a chance to try out the new Turtle Wax Graphene Trim Restorer, which I may feature in another video very soon, but I need to carry out further testing before it gets a video. Next up, it's time to treat the tyres to a little bit of luxury with Epic Automotive Tyre Conditioner. And once it's settled into the tyres, it gives you a luscious finish without becoming too greasy. To complete the wheels, I decided to spray them with some ceramic detailer, as my nan said she was coming to collect the car now, so I thought I'd reverse it into the garage and give it one last quick wipe down for the reveal.
That's amazing!
Yeah, it's alright, isn't it?
Isn't it? That looks amazing. I can't believe it.
It's not bad for a 200 quid car, is it?
Jeez, doesn't it look good? That is fantastic. I seriously can't believe it.
So if you want to learn more about how to clean your car in more in-depth videos, then I have two brilliant ones you cannot afford to miss right here.